We will be doing this in front of the interesting part, besides the Necrozma arc, the literal third grandchild arc, and the battle against Blacephalon and Exurgatree. This is going to be fun. Let's get into it. So Christian Nash would be traveling to Ula Ula Island for their grand trial against Nanu. When they arrive, they go to Ace Roll's place, blah 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 blah. I'm just going to skip to the battle. With the first battle with Nanu. Christian decides that they should do teamwork to help each other try and fight Nanu. Nanu agrees to this because he still thinks these trainers aren't strong enough to beat him, to get even close to touching Crocodile. Christian says, Ash, make sure Lycanroc doesn't go wild. He goes, okay, I'll watch out. Christian says, so when they both send out their Pokemon, Christian says, Lycanroc, let's go! Yeet. And yeets out Lycanroc. He says, whoa, 2 Lycanroc forms I've never seen. One looks like the midday and one looks like the midnight. Christian says, let's go. Ash, you ready? He says, yeah. When he says pre-grand trial, start. When Ash and Christian say, go. The both Lycanrocs would rush. Instantly, he'd say, Sand Tomb! Christian says, now, do a front flip over the Sand Tomb! He flips over it, and then Christian says, in midair, use Accelerock! He goes, yeah! About to hit Crocodile, but then he misses. Crocodile's about to go for counter. Christian says, do it! Lycanroc grabs Crocodile's tail and slides under it. Nanu's like, what the? He goes, nice! Ash! Lycanroc would jump out, going, Rrr! Ash would say, Lycanroc, use Rock Throw! Christian says, Lycanroc, assist it with Accelerock! What he means by assisting it means he jumps in the air and headbutts all the rocks down even faster. One of them hits Crocodile, but doesn't do that much. He goes, ole, ole, ole. I'm kidding, he wouldn't go ole, ole, ole. He'd go, Susador Flame Control, where Sasuke's got food in his mouth when he says that. Also, how long did the war actually last in Naruto? I kind of want to know. Because, like, no one ate at all. Naruto never ate. He went, like, a week without eating. Let's just get into it. So, basically, when Lycanroc jumps out, they both go. They go, rock. Nani would say, mud shot. I should say, now. Accelerock through it. But then Ash's Lycanroc on its own will would jump in and get hit by the mud slaps. Christian says, no, Ash's Lycanroc, why? You messed up our plan. Lycanroc gets a tiny bit sad. He says, it's okay, Lycanroc, it's fine. We'll reschedule the plan. We'll retry the plan. Christian says, let's go, full power. One-shot it. He says, you will be gone. Thought. So, he would, Ash would say, they both say, Accelerock! They both rush with a giant headbutt, but Christian puts a smirk on his face and says, Nanu says, counter! Christian says, counter! So when he's about to hit Ash's Lycanroc with counter, he jumps in the way and blocks the counter, punching it back. He goes, rock! Both Lycanroc slide back, going, Christian says, Crush Claw! Lycanroc would jump in the air and Crush Claw him, going, Rah! I'm gonna say that Christian's Lycanroc doesn't know Stone Edge yet. Because, well, yeah. Christian says, Rock Throw! With Rock Throws going flying forward, he goes, Rock! Then Christian would say, Accelerock right behind them! When he counters all the rocks, Lycanroc would come in for a quick, heavy headbutt. Well, actually, Accelerock. Christian would say, now! Rock Throw! But then Crocodile would rush in and he'd say, crunch! Biting away Christian's Lycanroc, he goes, rah! Rah! He goes, dang it! So, now, Christian says, ah! With F-U-L force, F-U-L-L force, actually, which means full force. Christian's Lycanroc jumps in and says, Christian says, Crush Claw! Ash would say, Accelerock! The two would go in and is about to smash into Crocodile. Nani would say, Crocodile, use counter, and smack them both away. But then he'd get Lycanroc all dirty, and Lycanroc would go into its red eye form. Christian says, what the? And out of nowhere he'd appear. Well, actually, Christian Lycanroc goes for a quick smack, but then Lycanroc, Crocodile smacks it away, going. Christian catches it and puts it down, saying, "Come on, Lycanroc! Please, Lycanroc, come on!" Lycanroc out of nowhere, its eyes turn. Well, since my Lycanroc is blue, its eyes are blue. He goes, since the eyes are blue, then his eyes should be red. He goes, the two Lycanrocs are both out of control. He goes, damn it, why did we let this happen? Both Lycanrocs would rush in with full force. Crocodile would instantly just counter them and then just body them. He'd say, dang it. And they lose. Now they go train with Tapu Bulu. When they do, and when they arrive to the Tapu Bulu ruins, Tapu Bulu summons the tree, and Dragonite, Rowlet, Lucario, Vaporeon jump in the tree. He goes, they all jump in, but only two of them learn moves. Rowlet and Dragonite both learn a move. Dragonite, I won't tell you. So when they're training, Christian wants to train Dragonite along with Lycanroc. So he says he wants to have a quick pre-battle before they have the 2-on-1 with Tapu Bulu. Christian says, Dragonite! Throwing out Dragonite. Dragonite goes, Barrrr! He says, alright. When they start, Christian says, well, I'm going to have a little bit of trouble against him. He goes, alright, Dragon Rush! Rotom says, boo-boo, that's not gonna work, he's part fairy type! Dragonite would rush in and it actually hit him for a tiny bit. You know, Ash's Pikachu can feint ground types with an electric move. Christian's thing can feint fairy types with a dragon move. Christian says, Barrrr, Barrrr, and rams right in, actually doing stuff. Christian says, now for our new move. He says, now, Draco Meteor. A giant Draco Meteor would come down. He goes, Barrrr, Barrrr. With full force, tons of meteors drop down on him. He goes, Tapu. But then Tapu Bulu just rush him one shot using Horn Leech, knocking him out. He goes, you did good, Dragonite. Then, with the two Lycanrocs hiding under the tree, going, Rah! But then Tapu Bulu would hit the men into the thing. Christian's Lycanroc hates water and mud. Ash's Lycanroc just doesn't like mud. When they both do, they get really pissed. The two Torcats are sitting next to each other playing cat and cat. When they two slide in, they both hit the ground, going, Rrr! Christian says, shoot. Then Rowlet rams into both of them with the full force. So does Vaporeon with the Aqua Jet. They go, Vay! But then he gets really, really mad, going, Rah! Brah! Getting super duper triggered, going, Triggered! He goes super, super triggered, triggered. No, like he gets triggered. He goes, triggered! And they both go into their red-eyed forms. Christian grabs Lycanroc's shoulders, going, trying to hold it down, but it's not working. So then he grabs it. He's about to grab its face, but then gets bit. He says, remember, Lycanroc, when you bit me when you were Rockruff, when we first met? Remember! He does that thing that Cross does, but it doesn't work. He rips his hand out of his mouth with a little tiny bit of blood on his hands. Then pulls Lycanroc to his face, saying, you remember? The rain feels awesome, doesn't it? Like when we used to play in the rain? Remember! And forces him to remember that moment that he had Austin, the Rockruff, had insanely much fun. Ash and him both do the same speech to them, and they finally calm down out of their forms. Christian says, yeah, now let's play! And splashes both Lycanrocs with water. They pour on to create a hydro pump, getting them all wet, having a great time. 10 minutes later, the rain would stop. And then it's time for the battle. Christian says, alright, Lycanroc, you ready? He goes, Urgh. Christian says, get ready, Ash. We're about to destroy this guy. When it starts, he says, Tapu Bulu. Then the battle would start. Christian says, now Crush Claw. Going in for a Crush Claw, but it dodges and he's hit into a wall. Christian says, now Rock Throw to block you. He'd summon rocks behind him to block him out, so Lycanroc can spring forward and go for another Crush Claw. Ash says, Lycanroc, use Rock Throw. With nowhere to dodge, Tapu Bulu just releases its full power to blast them all back. He goes, both Lycanrocs glow red, and they both shoot out stone edges, going, shooting full power stone edges, hitting Tapu Bulu with actually a much more force. They learn Stone Edge, and Tapu Bulu's really happy. Moving on to the grand trial, literally. When it starts, it's Crocodile versus the two Lycanrocs. They go, Rah! No, actually, no, they have to do the pre-trial. I just remembered the pre-trial. Christian says, alright, Lucario, we're gonna stop using Mega Evolution and go more in Z power. He pulls out the Mega Ring and puts it back in into his bag. Then he pulls out a Z Ring and puts the Lucarium Z in it. And says, place it, actually it's a Phytanium Z. But I'm gonna call it the Lucario Z, Lucarium Z, because that's the Muda. He places it in his Z-Ring and says, let's go, Ash. And they rush off. When they go to the place, when the Mimikyu comes out, Christian says, let's go, Lucario! Yeah. Jesse says, we're definitely gonna get that Lucario and that Pikachu. Christian pulls down a piece of paper off his face and says, are you sure about that? No, I don't want to do that meme, but I can't. He goes, are you sure? No, actually, there's my phone, I can do it. I was actually just watching it. My recaps would be a lot easier with Pokemon Home. Alright, so I got the video up. So, basically Jesse says, we're definitely catching that Pikachu and Lucario with our Z move. Christian says,
are you sure about that?
They go, and he goes, are you sure about that? When the battle would start, Christian would say, let's go! And throws out Lucario. And says, let's go, Lucario! James is also using Marini. Nah, I don't want to do that, actually. When it starts, Christian says, he says, Lucario Dragon Pulse! And instantly he goes, shooting a Dragon Pulse at it, but then it doesn't do anything. He goes, dang it, I forgot the Fairy type! Christian says, well, this one isn't, though. He says, Bone Rush! Well, like a bat, he goes, boom, 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 and just starts whacking them. With Pikachu and him trying to body until Beware arrives. When Beware arrives, Christian says, Beware, don't take them. I want to have a battle with you, Beware. And decides to have a battle with Beware. And says, I have the perfect thing to defeat you. When the battle would start, Christian says, here we go. He says, we would have needed Mega Evolution for this. When it starts, Christian says, power up punch. And instantly with one punch actually sends a little bit of shock to Beware, but Beware punches Lucario straight back. Lucario slides and goes, and literally just disappears and kicks him. Tries to kick Beware, doesn't do anything. After a while of trying to hit Beware, Beware finally uses doesn't use close combat, he uses power up punch. Punching Lucario straight back. Christian says, come on, Lucario! James is kind of scared of what Beware is doing. He's just destroying Lucario. Christian says, well, I guess it's our time then. Beware's about to go for a power up punch. Lucario glows red and then just goes doing close combat, sending back Beware, and Pikachu using Electro Web to block itself. Then Christian says, let's go. Full force, Lucario. We're going all out. No one's ever beaten this. He charges up his Z-move to the maximum. You heard nothing. You heard nothing. So he powers up his emote to the first and fullest state. And just says, alright, let's go with our full force team. Lucario's fist turned blue. And he says, now! And Lucario rushes. And he goes, with 100 billion Mudas later, Beware is literally so damaged. Christian says, alright, Lucario, and pulls off his earring and puts it right back in his pocket and says, respond to my heart keystone, beyond evolution, Mega Evolve!